Good evening and welcome to the national news broadcast on Channel I. We are ready to bring you the top stories from home and around the world. I'm Natalia Veeravardhana.
Good evening, I'm Clifford Richards. First of all, we'll take a look at the headlines.
The coming year is the transformation year of development of the country. A series of seminars to educate government officials to fulfill this objective. The government focuses attention to recommence preschools, primary grades in schools and tuition classes. The new Palagoda Manning Market has been declared open. A 7,500 housing project for low-income earners and the middle class. Former Minister Halim tells the Presidential Commission that swords were brought not to cut grass but to engage in business activities.
We move on to the news in detail. Head of the Presidential Task Force on Economic Revival and Elimination of Poverty, Basil Rajapaksa, says that the support of all is needed to turn the year 2021 into the year of transformation of development. Prominence has been given to rural development in the implementation of the budget proposals of 2021. The chairman of the task force has made these remarks in a discussion in the southern province to enlighten political and state representatives on the implementation of the 2021 budget proposals. The meeting has taken place at the Ravindranath Tagore Hall in the Ruhuna University today. It was attended by Southern Province ministers, state ministers, parliamentarians, former provincial councillors, chairpersons of local government institutions, government officials and community development representatives. Special attention has been focused at the meeting on the implementation of the national program titled Gama Samaga Pilisandara, Vada Samaga Yali Gamata. Participation of the meeting have presented common problems confronted by the political, state and community organization representatives in carrying forward the development process. Mr. Basil Rajapaksa has taken measures to provide immediate solutions to common problems and also to educate the relevant parties in this connection. Head of the Presidential Task Force on Economic Revival and Elimination of Poverty, Basil Rajapaksa, said that the aim is to record 1 billion rupee increase in the exports by October-November of next year. He added that foreign remittances have reported an increase of 37%. The minister added that $300 million investment has been received for the Hambantota harbour. He also requested officials not to restrict projects to several villages but to the entire country. He has also requested experienced government officials to inform them of any obstructions as they are prepared to rectify any such shortcomings. He has also called upon all to get together and win over the development challenge during this year itself.
අපි යම් විදියකින් බාධාවක් තියෙනවා නම් ඒවා බය නැතුව ඒක තීන්දුව අරගෙන අපිට දන්නන්න අපි ඔබ වෙනුවෙන් මේව කරනවා. ඉතින් මේ මට හොඳ අවබෝධයක් තියෙනවා වෙනස්ව හිතලා වෙනස් වැඩ කරන්න ගිහිල්ලා සමහර වෙලාවට හිරියර කරදර ඉරවත් ගන්න සිද්ධ වුණත් අවසානයේදී ඒක ජය ගන්නවා. ඒ නිසා මම මේ අවස්ථාවේදී විශේෂයෙන්ම අපි කට්ටිය එකතු වෙලා
A series of discussions are scheduled to be conducted covering all provinces of the island. The next meeting is expected to be held in Kuliapitiya tomorrow.
Minister of Education Professor G.L. Peiris says it has been planned to commence academic activities in preschools, primary grades in schools and tuition classes under strict health guidelines from January next year. The minister was addressing a media briefing after Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna today. Minister of Education Professor G.L. Peiris said that it has been decided to declare definitely within the next 2 weeks on the dates of opening of preschools, primary grades of schools and tuition classes in next January. He added that 5,100 schools are functioning throughout the country. Percentage of student attendance in the schools exceed 52%. This reflects the commitment and the interest of the parents to continuously carry forward the education of their children without being deceived by acts of sabotage. In certain areas, the percentage of the attendance is at a more higher level. Schools in Nivitigala in the Ratnapura district have recorded a student attendance of around 70%. In Galinbinduruwa in the Anuradhapura district, the percentage was around 72%. A 96% student attendance has been reported from Viyaluwa in the Badulla district and 92% attendance from Passara in the same district. Students' school attendance in Dehiyattakandiya and Mawaya in the Ampara district have been 75 and 79% respectively. Muttur in Trincomalee district has recorded a student attendance of 69%. The overall attendance of teachers has also at a satisfactory throughout the country at 77%.
We take a quick look at the local situation with regard to COVID-19. The Ministry of Health says that the number of fully recovered COVID-19 patients has increased to 24,309. Fully cured 516 patients have left their hospitals today. 35 fully cured COVID-19 patients who are undergoing treatment in the Polonnaru district have been discharged today. All of them were residents of the Colombo district. 54 fully recovered patients were discharged from the Pinnavela COVID treatment centre. They were residents of Gampaha, Colombo, Kalutara and Galle districts. The percentage of the fully cured patients stands at 73.34%. The percentage of patients continuously undergoing treatment is at 26.20%. 8,685 patients during this month alone. 7,319 fully recovered patients have left hospitals. A further 356 corona-infected patients have been identified today. Out of this number, 302 were close contacts of the patients of the Paliguda cluster. The other 54 patients have been close contacts with the patients of the prison cluster. 15,239 PCR tests were conducted yesterday. The total number of PCR tests conducted so far in the country stands at 1,029,486. A further 41 corona-infected persons were reported from factories of the Sitavaka Export Processing Zone. So far, 142 patients have been reported from this zone. Five more persons in the Lingston plantation in Bogavantala were reported to have contracted the COVID-19 disease. It has also been reported that 2 children and a father of the same family have become victims of the disease. 18 patients have been detected from areas of the Ambagamu Medical Office of Health Division. They included 4 drivers of a private garment factory in the Ginigathena town. The Ambagamu Medical Office of Health Office has engaged in taking samples for PCR tests of close associates of the patients. The Grama Niradhara divisions of the Siradunna and Kahava as well as parts of the Vedaniya Gram Niradhara division were placed on isolation following the detection of patients in the Siradunna police division in Vallava Kurunagala. A female police officer and her mother in the area were also reported to have contracted the disease. 118 villagers and the OIC of the Vallava police station and several police officers who have attended a ceremony attended by the female police officer and her mother were subjected to quarantine. It has been confirmed later on that 18 of the quarantined persons were infected with COVID-19. 3 more COVID-19 related deaths were reported yesterday. The Director General of Health Services says the victims were from Colombo 10, Vattala and Matale. The Valachene police station has arrested 4 fully cured patients who were preparing to leave the Punani COVID treatment centre. They have been taken into custody on charges of attempting to steal many electronic and sanitary equipment at the centre. The police have taken into custody another batch of 41 persons on charges of violating quarantine law in the 24 hours that ended at 6 o'clock this morning. It has also been reported that 1,390 quarantine violators have been arrested from 30th October up to now. The isolation status imposed on 4 multi-storied housing schemes in Colombo as well as several police divisions in the Gampaha district have been lifted with effect from 5 o'clock this morning. However, several more police divisions in the Western Province have been placed on isolation with effect from today. Secretary of the Ministry of Promotion of Indigenous Medicine, the Development of Rural and Ayurvedic Hospitals and Community Health, Kumar Vijayasekara requests all general public to refrain from consuming indigenous medicinal prescriptions. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has instructed the Urban Development Authority today to commence without delay the construction of 7,500 houses for people living in settlements with lesser facilities and also for middle-income earners. Accordingly, the housing project is scheduled to get underway before the end of this month. Well, at a discussion held in this connection today, it has been pointed out that 4,000 out of 7,500 proposed housing units will be reserved for the resettlement of persons living in habitats of low accommodations. The remaining 3,000 houses will be allocated for middle class. The Premier also ordered the UDA officials to prepare a methodology on house ownership through a minimum preliminary payment. It has also been decided to hand over loans to the recipients at an interest rate of 6.25%. which have to be repaid within 30 years. New stalls have been provided to all stall owners of the Manning Market in the new facility for bulk trading. 768 more spacious stalls with extra facilities have been declared open for wholesale trade today. The Premier has also informed the officials to provide 50% discount on monthly rent for these stalls. The UDA has informed that if not for the COVID-19 pandemic, the remaining stalls could have been handed over for retail trade as well. Constructions in all housing projects, of which foundation stones were laid prior to the year 2015, but construction had been stalled, have also recommenced. Construction of the housing projects for artists is also scheduled to commence later on. The target of the UDA is to complete construction of 150,000 houses by 2024. The Premier reiterated that housing projects being implemented under numerous aid should not be restricted to the North, South or the plantation community, but to the people of the entire island. State Minister Nalaka Godaheva, Prime Minister's Secretary Gamini Senarath, Chief of Staff of the Prime Minister's Office Yoshitha Rajapaksa and high-ranking officials of the UDA have also taken part in this discussion.
The new Manning Market complex in Paliagoda was declared open for vegetable wholesale trading today. The market remains open from 4 p.m. to midnight daily with effect from today. Preliminary plans had been formulated in the year 2013 to relocate the Manning Market in Colombo to Paliagoda. The aim was to fulfill several objectives, including easing to massive traffic congestion in the Colombo city and also to facilitate the general public dealing with the trade centre. The work had been carried out under the supervision of the then Defence Secretary and present President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. According to the programs, the St. John's Fish Market in Colombo was shifted to Paliagoda. It has become extremely easy to transport food items, including vegetables, to Colombo and from Colombo to the outstation, as the Paliagoda Exchange is conveniently located near the highway, connecting it with all parts of the island. The new Paliagoda Manning Market complex is comprised with 1,192 trade stalls and a vehicle park for 600 vehicles. The general public has been informed recently that the new market will be declared open today on the request of Chairman of the Task Force Basil Rajapaksa under the supervision of State Minister Nalaka Godaheva. A large number of traders were seen arriving at the trade centre in response to the request.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa will preside over the ceremony investing with the people the newly constructed Madivela West Urban Agricultural and Environmental Development Project tomorrow. Work on the project had commenced on the 21st of April this year under the Vision of Prosperity policy statement. The 23-acre project site includes walking and bicycle lanes, a children's playground, outdoor exercising area and 2 vehicle parks. In addition, 2 reservoirs which enable to irrigate cultivations in both Yala and Maha seasons have been constructed. The Sri Lanka Land Development Corporation was in charge of construction under the direction of the UDA. The total cost of the project was 390 million rupees. A special feature has been the introduction of a paddy field, which is solely engaged in the cultivation of indigenous varieties of paddy using organic fertilizer. Lands have also been allocated for the cultivation of other crops as well. Altogether, there are 44 cultivation plots in the agricultural component of this project. Minister Chamal Rajapaksa has presided over the inauguration of several community service projects on behalf of farmers in the Agunakola Palace area today. The Minister of Irrigation is implementing the program with the objective of introducing latest technology on home gardening and paddy cultivation, handing over to the farmers of necessary plants and seeds for home gardening as well as bee boxes and equipment for milk farming has taken place. In addition, the farmers have been enlightened on the manufacturing of compost fertilizer units, caring of crops, planting of saplings using machinery and parachute paddy cultivation methods. Minister Vasudeva Ranakar was engaged in an inspection tour in the storages and yards of the National Water Supply Board in Ratmalana today. The minister focused attention on the problems of the employees on this occasion. Minister Mahindananda Alutgamage says that it has been decided to purchase the produce of the vegetable, fruit and farmers through the intervention of the Department of Agriculture and to hand them over to the economic centres. The minister, during an inspection tour at the Narayampeta Economic Centre, has expressed hope of the reduction of prices of vegetables by 50% as a result of the implementation of the current program. State Minister Viduru Vikramanayake says that a program will be formulated to impose stringent punishments to those who destroy places of archaeological importance. Addressing a media briefing in Colombo today, he said that relevant laws will be evaluated in this connection.
Former Minister H.M.A. Halim, who has earlier stated that the swords found from mosques in several parts of the island after Easter Sunday terror attack may have been brought for grass cutting, has told the Presidential Commission today that he now believes that they were brought for business purposes. Halim was functioning as the Minister of Post and Muslim Affairs during the time of the Easter Sunday terror attack. Several swords are found from a mosque in Slave Island that had been subjected to controversy during the period of the attacks were presented at the Presidential Commission. Responding to query raised by regarding the nature of the weapons and their identification, he said that he was unable to distinguish the differences of these weapons. Upon interrogation, he further said that he was not aware whether they were being brought from abroad and added that some mosques use the weapons for cleaning purposes.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has paid his last respects to the remains of Dunstan Jayasuriya, who is the father of the superstar cricketer Sanath Jayasuriya, today. The Prime Minister arrived at the Mathura residence of the late Mr. Jayasuriya and conveyed his condolences to the members of the family. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa also paid his last respects to the body of Mrs. Alpinona Veerasekara, the mother of the Anunayaka of the Kotte Kalyani Samagri Dharma Maha Sangha Sabha, the Venerable Professor Kotapitiye Rahulathero.
A person who was suspected to have manufactured weapons for organized criminal gang leaders Angodalokka and Solta has been arrested last night. He was apprehended in a raid conducted on information received by the Unit to Control Organized Crimes of the Special Task Force. The suspect, named Sumitra Arachige Don Udara Niranjan, was arrested in a raid conducted in Siriparaku Mawatha in Angoda. The police has taken into custody several locally manufactured firearms and 18 live ammunition found in his possession. The items have been handed over to the Mulleriava police station for further investigation. Pieces of turmeric weighing 25,450 kilograms illegally imported into the country under the pretext of importing bee onions from the Dubai has been taken into the custody of the customs. The contraband has been imported by a businessman in Petta. He has imported 4 containers of the contraband and attempted to clear the stocks in a hurry. The customs officials have become suspicious of his behavior and made an inspection which resulted in the detection of the illegal stocks. The government has already imposed a ban of the importation of pieces of turmeric. Close monitoring by the Sri Lanka Customs has enabled to make such arrests of unscrupulous persons who attempt to import banned items by deploying numerous strategies. And that's it for tonight's news. Join us tomorrow, same time. Good night.
Good night.